All right. In this episode, I'm trying something a little different. So, one of the time hacks that I've noticed is being able to do other things while talking. So, I've actually had some of the best conversations with people when I'm doing other tasks. And if you know, you might have been on the receiving end where I'll be driving somewhere and I'll give somebody a call and we'll have just the most amazing conversation. So what I wanted to do is use that and almost as a debrief of probably the past couple 24, 48 hours where I've had some really interesting conversations that I think would be applicable to you, tie it together into a digestible soundbite that you can then use to kind of go through your life. So the first concept I want to cover is about asking and genuinely caring about other people. And where I saw this, and while I'm doing this, I'm actually packing, secret time for anybody who's watching. I'm actually packing my vitamins for the week. So for a lot of people that may or may not know, I pack all my vitamins. Mainly, I went through this biohacking phase where I looked at, okay, what are the nutrition that I need to eat, like the macro pieces of it, and then the micro was what are all the individual minerals and nutrients that I need to get, that I need to supplement, and then how which vitamins play together well, which vitamins don't play together well, how to stack them so that I'm getting maximum throughout the day. Now, some people will say, "Hey, why don't you just go get a multivitamin?" Interesting thing is because not everything plays in the same sandbox. So your receptors, sorry, this is a super long tangent, but the receptors will you can have the same receptors for different ones. So like B and D, vitamin B and D do not like to play in the same sandbox together. Same thing with B and C. They will use the same receptors. So if you're taking a vitamin that has both of those contained within it, they will actually cancel each other out and you'll reduce your uptake, your bioavailability uptake. So that was just something that I've kind of realized. But anyway, so that's kind of what I'm doing. So for anybody who is, watching me on video on YouTube. So Secret Time, again, I take this content and I have video where I have them up on YouTube to try to get more audience, as well as taking the audio out so that we have this as the actual podcast. Toying around with some stuff and then trying some different things to see what works, what doesn't work, and just kind of see where the things takes us. But the asking and being genuinely curious. So today at work, I actually noticed we had a leader that had a son recently. So he was out for paternity leave. So huge shout out to him. He A lot of times top level leaderships, you don't really hear that too often. It's like, well, we have a kid and we're just going to kind of keep right back at it because we have all the business metrics. We need to run the business and blah, 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 blah. So kudos to him because he actually did take time off. And apparently like the either first or second kid, he didn't take a lot of time off. And so this one he sort of realized, right. And he wanted to make up for it and help out his wife, in that special time. So also really important because for those that haven't had kids yet, that time immediately after is very important. There's like two big stages that guys can actually help with kids, like post being been born. There's many, but like in that short time window is immediately when you come home from the hospital. And then the second one is when you're like, if she goes back to work, being able to help bridge so that at least she can kind of go back to work and you can still continue to keep doing things before, you return back to work. So helping in that transition period. But anyway, so he took a bunch of time off, which was really good. So he came back recently and we had this day long meeting where it was just all the different things, we call it an MOR, and we just go through a monthly operating rhythm, which is all the different things that are going on potentially in the business and how do we win the month and just all these different things. Well, it's a really long, intensive all day. So I'm wrapping up at the end of the day. And, it was really a weird sort of instance where we had a tornado watch. So I was actually texting Amber because she was like, hey, stuff's kind of going sideways here at the house, tornado, potential touchdown, et cetera. And so I said, okay, make sure you're safe. And do you need me to do anything? Nope, she's good. She just wanted to be for awareness. Well, then that storm kind of passed into the area where we're at. And so halfway through presenting, we moved from a conference room that had windows to a conference room that didn't have windows. And then finally, we just said, hey, let's go to the first floor right by the elevators. It's the safest place in the building. So we'll just ride this thing out. After all said and done, we said, okay, meeting's done. Like people kind of lost steam, momentum, initiative, all that stuff. So let's just be done for the day. Everybody get home, safe to the families, et cetera, which is also a really good leadership piece of it there as well, which is recognizing, hey, we just have to, be home with your family. Like that's the most important thing. Take care of them first. because if you don't take care of them, then you can't take care of the business. So I'm always in that sort of like family first, right? We got to take care of our family so then we can take care of others. Anyway, so before we sort of disbanded, I said, hey, I said, I've got a really important question. I said, how are you? How is mom? And how is the newborn baby? So he explained, went through the whole thing, happened with pregnancy. I asked him a little bit more about his kids. And it was really an interesting conversation. You could kind of tell he was almost like taken back a little bit because he went through and explained a whole bunch of stuff. And there's, I don't know, 5 or 6 other people that are there, and they're, some of them are listening, some of them are haphazardly listening. But it was interesting because he went through all that stuff and he's like, you know what? He's like, thank you for asking. And you could tell, I don't know how many people have asked him. A lot of people had said, welcome back. A lot of people had said, hey, that's great to see you back, great to have you back, etc. But how often are we actually asking the people that we work with, the people that we interact with on a day in, day out basis, how are you doing? How is your family? Like, what are the things that are important in your lives, especially something as big as having a kid, like a childbirth. And it kind of hit me because, the reaction of what he had, and I always analyze and probably overanalyze a lot of situations. But it occurred to me that most that just doesn't happen. So that is not normal for me because I'm always asking, how is everybody feeling? What's new? Trying to get to know the person. And I do this in every job interview, any role that I take, or any, business interaction. Frankly, the people that I invest in, it's like, if you can't have a conversation and be real with me and get to know me on an individual basis, then I don't really want to go do business with you because you're purely looking at it as just the face value of the transaction, instead of, okay, I really know who John is, and John can tell, John at least knows. He may not know Amber, but he at least knows, hey, his wife's name is Amber, or he is married, he has a kid, like just something about it just to show that you actually do care. And I mean, I know I've read this in countless books before where it talks about, you know getting to know the people that you're doing in business. And it's great, we can read it, but we rarely take that into practical day applications, or we use it as a checklist. Like, this is the other thing I don't want that message to come across, which is just do it for the sake of doing a checklist. Like, oh yeah, sure, okay, tell me, yeah, tell me how are you doing? Okay, yeah, great. How's wife, kids? Yep, good, yeah, great. Okay, now anyway, what I want to do, like, you've missed that entire boat. You're doing it for the sake of doing it, but you're not doing it to really get to know somebody. And when you do get to know somebody, you actually build such a deep relationship with them that they will kind of go, what you'll find is people will go really above and beyond for you, but then also you will go above and beyond for them, because John is no longer just a colleague. John is a father, a son, a brother that's going through heroics because of, some cancer in the family. He is an uncle that is stepping up to, coach his sons, or coach, some soccer league, like whatever that specific story is about that individual. And I'm trying not to use like real names and real examples, but when you really get to know somebody, you want to do more for them, and they will also want to do more for you. And that ultimately leads to just better, more fruitful relationships. And it also gives deeper meaning to everything that you do, instead of just everything in face value. I got to raise profits. I got to get to know, I got to close this project out. I have to hit this deadline. But you're doing it and you have more of a story, more of a purpose that you're connected to and tied with. So you can also tell this with people who are business owners. Are they getting to know you, or are they just purely just what's the most efficient? I need to get to know you, and I need to pull you in because you are the person that can connect me to that person over here. And that's the only reason I really care about you. Well, cool, but then that basically means that I'm only as valuable as that person that I know, and not he's a really cool individual that I want to get to know, or who has taken the time to want to get to know me. And I just see that that is it's a rare thing in today's world. But it doesn't go unnoticed. Like, that's the other thing, is that just because it's rare doesn't mean that it goes unnoticed. So you can, so like that's sort of like lesson one, which is, yeah, just like asking and genuinely caring about others, like being a real human being. The next one is connecting and growing your network. I feel like we hear all these things that are great on bumper stickers, but we rarely take the initiative to necessarily go through and do the things that we ultimately know that we need to go do. So, with that being said, a real life example is that I was talking to Amber, because I had said, she's got more fans than she realizes. And it was in context because I said recently, I'm part of a mastermind, entrepreneurial mastermind, and I told myself, okay, I'm in this mastermind. I'm here with other people. I want to get to know them. I would like to know again, I'm, John, who's Sarah, who Mike, who Meredith, who are all these individuals and what is it that their business? Like, why did they choose to get into that business? And just build a genuine connection. Because again, it's like if you're going to spend the money to be in a mastermind, but then you're not going to actually get to know the people that you are in the mastermind with, then why are you in the mastermind? If you're only there for the top coach or the top leader, like then just go hire them. But if you're in a mastermind, why would you not go and actually get to know everybody and figure out, hey, what are the areas and who are the people that maybe I can connect with? Who is in a similar field that we could maybe partner with? Who knows marketing super insanely well that because we're in this mastermind, I get access to and I can actually have them help me, and then in return, like, how can I help you? Like, how can we both help each other? So I took it as a challenge and I said, okay, I'm going to start doing this like at least once a week, reach out to people. And I reached out to this girl today, and sure enough, to find out, like, we've passed, we were in Nashville together, so we had a conversation there, but we never really kind of sat down and had more of a, other than just like a 5-ish type minute conversation. We never really had a deep understand. I couldn't tell you anything about her. She couldn't really tell me anything about me. And, we spent 40 minutes on the phone. And I really got to know who she was. Really got to know, okay, she went to college for marketing. And it was this called like inclusive marketing, I think. So instead of having marketing like the one message, it's like, what's the theme of messaging that goes within it? So it creates this almost atmosphere where it's that personal brand. And just a lot of really deep, she works with a ton of tech companies, and she's almost, she's just recently gotten into the entrepreneurial space. And okay, tell me, why did you get into the entrepreneurial space? And she told me all those different cool stories. And I was like, wow, like, you are such a cool individual. Like, you have such a really cool story. And now I know why she's in marketing and why she pivoted to entrepreneurs away from the big tech startups. And it just had reminded me. And so later, when I was talking to Amber about this, I had said, I said, my day job has given me the opportunity of pushing me because I keep taking these new roles. And every time there's a new role, I have to learn an entire new team. And then I get, I do the same thing as that I just said, right? I practice what I preach. And I go and I start to get to know the people, and I get to know, their families, and I get to, okay, like, why are, what is it that makes you tick? Why is it that you are the leader that you are? Why are you so focused to systems? And why are you so focused on large strategy? And you just get an understanding of who they are. Well, after 18 years in the company, I have an intense network. And I didn't realize it in the day. Like, I kind of almost realized it, when I'm reflecting, when I was talking to Amber. It's like, because I went in and every single time there's a new team, and every time the team members had left and then new people had come in, and, we bring in different teams, and there's a global team, and then there's a customer team, and there's all these different dimensions of people that I interact with. Every time that I would take a new role and I would do the same playbook, just because I'm just that curious in nature. But the benefit that I didn't realize was, whoa, I actually have a really big network. Well, if I did this in my day job, why would I not go do this in every other aspect of my life? Like, why wouldn't I do this with ANF class? So that's also what then said, okay, in this mastermind, why would I not go and do this? But then later, meta, right? Me sharing this to you is, who are the people that you're working with that you may not know as deep of a relationship with? Who's a person on your team, just one, that you could get to know a little deeper? Have some more of those conversations, and you might not know that when you have those deeper conversations, that, wow, they're actually really cool people. I know a lot of really cool people in my life. And what that does is that opens up opportunities. Like, everybody's always heard your net worth is your network. You said that right, right? Net worth is your network. And so we always think about it in the sense of business sense, but also, we all know the person who is so well connected that, they need to go hire somebody to do their lawn care. And they're like, hey, I need somebody to cut grass in the Cincinnati area. And they're like, I got this person. I've already sent them to you. I've already made a connection, connected you to. And now all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I literally had a problem and a solution to that problem in less than 30 minutes. Like, how cool is that? How cool is it that you no longer have to go through and say, are they a good person? Are they not a good person? Are they too high? Are they not too high? Because you essentially already have those vetted people. And we do this in general anyway, right? We ask our friends, hey, who is it that is a doctor? Like, who's your doctor? I might go to your doctor if they've got room, because I like you. You seem healthy. So the doctor must be giving you good advice. So I'm going to do the same thing. That's all well and cool, but now expand that to other dimensions of your life, other people that you're working with that, you could tap into their networks. And some of them could be, untapped potential. So you never really know where that road is going to go, the opportunities that it could offer up. Like I've seen and heard stories where people, left certain companies and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I want to go over to, I really wanted to get into SpaceX. And they're like, actually, like during an exit interview, and they're like, do you have a tie-in? And he's like, no, like I just figured I'd move down in the area and try to network. He's like, don't worry, I'll make a phone call. In the exit interview from the job that he was doing, because he opened up and told a little bit more about himself and where he was going, that person was like, got you, already got, and he had a job within like 2 weeks. So it's insane how quickly, and we don't know it on the front side. We don't say like, well, if I know all these right people, then I'll be able to get to know. You don't know who they know, and you don't know where those stories and where the story that you told that person, when they tell it to somebody else, now all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I need to get to know that person. We don't know all the interconnectedness. That's a little bit where we got to have faith, right? Trust the process, and trust, the owner of the process. And when we do that, we get to achieve more, fulfill more, go into all those untapped potentials, go and actually experience and live the things that we ultimately want to go do. See, one of my beliefs is that I know, or I believe strongly, that we all are capable of a lot more than what we're doing. For men specifically, I feel the world has isolated and said men are very one dimensional. They just need food, they just need sex, and they just need, something else, whatever that is, a distraction. But what they strip away is that men are a lot more than that. Men have hobbies, men have interests, men have movies they like, men have, interests on who knows what it is. And we're probably not doing that. We're not living out all of our life in the potential of what we could do because we are so overburdened with responsibility, and then also have this feeling that because we have to be responsible, then that means I can't have fun. You can be fun and responsible at the same time. And so the more that you start to share some of those interests, the more that you'll start to realize, hey, other people, other guys in the office run. And maybe I've been wanting to get up at 5 a.m. to start running, and these three dudes run and they have their own little running club. And all I had to do is say, hey, I love running. And they said, why don't you join me? Now, all of a sudden, you're getting closer to your paths, your passions, your life that I'm trying to articulate is your exceptional life, whatever that is for you. So get to know the people around you, get to know the people that you interact with. You never know the power of one simple conversation and where it could lead. And then checking the third thing, I'm checking my notes real quick. Obviously, my iPhone decided not to do face scan right now. The power of positivity. There was somebody that had said once that the cynics always try to convince you that they're right, but they're the ones that actually aren't, because we never really know how everything plays out. So let's tie it back to the last concept. We never know how all these stories are going to play out. We never know, was going to college the right thing? Was starting this business the right thing? Was going and moving away from home to a new city the right thing? We don't know until we do it. Like one of the most wise things I've ever heard was the decision. You'll never know whether or not a decision was right or wrong until you've made it. So you can strategize and you can try to pre-plan, you can try to do a pros cons list, you can try to do all this pre-work to strategize what do you think is going to be the right decision. But you'll never know whether or not it was right or wrong until you've actually made it. And then that comes with the second piece, which is nothing is for forever. Everything is figure outable. So you can always go and figure out, okay, how do I go pivot and get back to maybe the job that I thought was really bad, but maybe it turns out it actually was really good. Maybe the town that I decided to move to really wasn't that good, and it gave me a perspective and a newfound appreciation for the city or the town that I came from. So, but far too often what I hear people say is, well, but if I make the wrong decision, then it's going to F up my whole life. And so I have to overthink and I have to plan. And what about this? And did I consider this? And they also, I think, fall into, if I make a decision, I can never get back out of it. It's like, you can always move. There's people that move every day. I've seen people leave the company and come back in 5 to 10 years and actually have been better and more impactful because they knew, hey, the things that I was complaining about I actually had it really good. But I couldn't ever, no matter how often or how many times somebody tried to convince you that the life that you're living is really great, until you step out and then you have that appreciation, you'll never know. So the power of positivity isn't just a bumper sticker. that says like peace, love, and happiness. It genuinely is that life is more fulfilling. Because if you believe things are going to work out, or you believe that things are always going to fall apart, your confirmation bias, like this is where the science will come in, the confirmation bias will make either scenario true. Like I've met people and sat, painstakingly with people that are like, yeah, my life is just hard. And then every time I talked to them, they would always tell me the reasons why their life was hard. Man, the kids won't listen, and I get into it with my wife, and the work is really hard. They keep piling more stuff on me, and they're not paying me enough, and all the negativity that goes along with it. And those same people, when I hear them, I say, dude, she cooks dinner for you every single night. Like, no questions. She just does it. Like, how awesome is that? She's like, yeah, but it's the same meal over and over again. Bro, did you have to make it? Did you have to go shopping for it? Food just appeared? Like, why is that not a good thing? And if it's so horrible, then why wouldn't you just go make your own food? So I've seen people like that. And then I've also seen people where they're like, oh my gosh, bro, life is just magical. And I love talking to people like that, because when they say life is magical, they truly mean it. Because every time I talk to them, they'll tell me all the reasons why their life is magical. So you'll fill the conversation with what it is your confirmation bias says. So for the people that believe that life is magical, every time you'll hear them talk about, oh my gosh, can you believe that I did this? Or like, oh, I had this the most randomest thing happened. I was sitting down having coffee, and then George Clooney walked in. Like, that real story, like that actually happened. And he sat down and we had a great conversation. We took a picture together, and just like he kind of went on his merry way. People who were like, hey, tennis player came into town. It was a tennis environment that they came in, and tournament, and they needed a place to stay. So friend of a friend knew somebody, and they're like, we're getting paid, wicked cash for somebody to stay at our house for a weekend. Like, we made more from somebody staying and renting our house for a tennis tournament than our mortgage. So like, why would that basically covered for itself? But again, right? How are you looking at life? Is that, oh no, I could never let anybody into my house. I could never, people are always out to get me. People are always willing to, rob, steal, whatever. And so how you view the world is how it will unfold, how your perception, your confirmation bias will play out. So that's the power of positivity. So I want to leave you with that. Keep this episode short. And what I ask from you is, A, if you've made it this far, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, please go subscribe and then leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. What did you like about it? What you didn't like from it? And I'd love to connect and talk to you more. So with that, happy Tuesday. Keep moving forward.